some videos. So now I like tag everything like Sports Center, ESPN, football, NFL, NBA basketball, baseball, MLB.
As your live?
What? Yeah, to my live stream. I know how to do it to regular videos, but to the live stream.
Okay.
Yeah.
That is a lot. Because I was gonna be like, you never hashtag Sports Center?
No, of course. But now I know how to do it before the live video.
No, I feel you.
Hashtag Sports Center. All right. You could cut me down, Lau.
I will in 30 seconds.
Are you going wild?
Yep, I'm putting it in right now.
Nick, are you picking two?
I'm picking my nose. I can pick two.
All right, hurry up.
Wild Goes Wild is
we're talking about baseball and golf for the first like 2-3 minutes, so you have some time, and then NHL. So for the first 5 minutes, you don't have to talk.
Going wild after college football.
I could literally
get done early.
I'll wing a fucking NFL pick too.
All right, cool. All right, go ahead.
Yeah, and Tennessee is -10 against the Jets.
Easy.
It's crazy. Easy. It's no Mariota.
Yeah, he is. He's playing. What do you mean? He busted ass last game.
Is he?
Yeah. Okay, Hellbent.
God damn, Green Bay -15 against Arizona. That's crazy.
Paging Dr. Faggot.
Yo, Green Bay's -15 against Arizona.
We're all ready. I'm just waiting on you. I put it in already.
I'm waiting for you to do a countdown.
Yo.
Oh.
All right, be on mute when you guys are not talking.
Fuck you.
Welcome back to another episode of JNJTalksports podcast. I'm your host, Justin Palizzi. You can follow me on Twitter at easypalizzi_21, where I give you some great and very biased sports content. You can follow our podcast page at JNJTalksports on both Instagram and Twitter at JNJTalksports. You can also email us at gmail.com at JNJTalksports@gmail.com. With any questions, concerns, comments, and or future topics you would like for us to discuss this week, we have a lot lined up here. We have the college football playoffs rounding up. We got the mist of what has been a great beginning to the college basketball season, as well as the NBA season. And then we're rounding out the NFL season with the last 4 weeks to go, 4 to 5 weeks to go. Joining me this week, like every other week, one of my two overly large size co-hosts, Lau. How's it going, buddy?
Hi, welcome to another attempt to be calm and cool and collected during the J&J Talk Sports podcast. As always, it's your boy Lyle Style. You can follow me at LYLESSTYLE. You can also watch Justin work out if you're watching us live. I'm already getting angry at you. And you can watch me on Tuesdays at www.twitch.tv/HelmetTabletop. And I'm also here with the other co-host, Nicholas the Third of his name, Warden of the Queens, and Regent of the Canadians. How are you, Nick?
I just want to get the facts straight on the second of my name. No, but I'm good. It's been a while since we recorded. I'm just watching Justin. I'm watching Justin work out here and taking notes.
It's really awesome that he can finally lift 5 pound dumbbells.
I just didn't know. Did you do
5,
yoga?
10, 15, 20 plus 5 for the bar.
Wow, did you do your yoga this week? Are you in your Zen mode?
I have been doing yoga the past couple of weeks. I have aligned my chakras, and I feel very calm.
So what can we expect for today's Lyles Go Wild? How revved up?
Hashtag stood up.
We'll see what happens. No, hashtag rescheduled. God, you guys are the worst.
For those who don't know,
she took a rain check.
Lyle had a date that never showed up.
No, that's not what happened. Okay. Moving forward with worldwide news. Speaking of two individuals who are habitually together, Tiger and Phil Mickelson finally played their huge money match. And for those of you who paid to watch it, it was a game of golf. Justin, what do you think? What do you think about this game of golf?
I actually did not watch it. I was getting updates on my phone and, looping in on Twitter to see the updates on this. Basically, Tiger and Phil had a match on Friday, the day after Thanksgiving, a day that's supposed to be full of leftovers, sleep, and, getting into your feelings about getting dominated on fantasy football on Thursday, the day before. But instead, we had Tiger versus Phil, an event which winner got $9 million. The match went 22 rounds. It went 4 holes in overtime, in which Tiger was down going into the last hole, tied it up, of course, because he's clutch. And ultimately, Phil Mickelson, the lefty, won on a birdie on the last hole. So he wins $9 million. Did you guys hear that? So the event was supposed to be a pay-per-view event. It was supposed to be, I think it was $10 or whatever. Something happened with Comcast where it ended up streaming for free. So no one had to pay $1 for it. So
people did.
No. Everybody got refunded. No, they did not make $1 off the pay-per-view side of things. So that $9 million, I want to know where it came from. I'm gonna have to look more into it. Most likely advertising, but I'm pretty sure they were banking on the pay-per-view to pay for a majority of that, if not most of it. I want to move on here to some big news in the MLB world. Slowly, Lyle, but surely, baseball's becoming a all-year sport. I mean, the offseason last year was dominated. Yeah, last year the headlines were dominated with the moves that the Red Sox made by signing JD Martinez and the Yankees trading for Giancarlo Stanton. Now, November is kind of like a slow month. And it's been a slow month thus far for baseball, but I think things are going to pick up here in the free agency.
Well, things always tend to pick up when the winter meetings happen, because that's when all the GMs, all the management, they all get together. They have their little, champagne cocktails.
Have some cocktails, wine and dine each other.
Yeah, and then they start throwing out ridiculous trades, and some paper napkin agreements get signed, and lo and behold, you have Giancarlo Stanton come to the Yankees for, peanuts and a thing of cotton candy.
Yeah. All it takes is like one joke of an offer, and then some guy actually looks at you in the face and be like, you know what? I actually kind of would do that. And then next you know, Giancarlo Stanton's a Yankee. So the Yankees actually did make a trade already. Last week, they traded 3 prospects, including our number 1 prospect in our farm system, Justice Sheffield, who is a right-handed pitcher, for lefty power pitcher James Paxton, who was a Cy Young candidate last year for the Seattle Mariners. I absolutely love this trade, Lyle. I think Sheffield was still about 2 years away from being a viable starter, let alone becoming close to an ace. And as we all know, Yankees are in win-now mode. You get a 28-year-old pitcher who you still got 2 years of control on. Therefore, you win the trade. You win the trade 100%. You give up your number 1 prospect in Sheffield, who didn't show anything last year, but you get a great quality pitcher. A legit number 2, maybe number 3.
The old saying goes, a prospect is only that, a prospect. And yes, we want to keep a healthy farm system because look what they've done for us. But at the same time, Paxton, 28, in his prime, 2 years on the contract. We're ready to win. We put up over 100 wins last year. We need a little something to get us over the hump. We're not rebuilding. We're going to win.
Who would you like to see the Yankees? I mean, obviously, it's probably going to be a signing, most likely, with Machado and Corbin, all free agents. But who do you think the Yankees do acquire next? Not who would you like for them to, but realistically.
Who they acquire? I don't see Machado coming. At least not the next signing. I think Boris shops around. I don't have a name for you, but I do believe it's going to be another pitcher. I believe the Yankees are going to throw money at starting pitching problems.
Well, if we don't get Patrick Corbin, he visited the Phillies yesterday, and he stayed overnight there. So I don't know. That's not looking too good. I know he wants to come to play for the Yankees, being born and raised in Long Island. If we do not get Corbin, I do see us trading for someone like Kluber or Madison Bumgarner, who I would absolutely love.
I mean, isn't Happ still on the?
I think we re-sign him. I think that's 100% gonna come back if we don't sign Corbin. If we sign Happ, don't get Corbin, I still think we make a trade, because then you're gonna have a Bumgarner, a CC, and a James Paxton, all good left-handed pitchers. CC's not gonna pitch a full year. James Paxton hits the DL about 2-3 times a year, and Bumgarner lost a step. So you're gonna have to go with a 6-man rotation unless you get someone like Kluber or Patrick Corbin who could always go every 5 days, like Severino and Tanaka. We're gonna go over here and talk about some Rangers hockey right now, as well as some Islanders. You Islanders fans out there listening, don't worry, we're gonna mention you guys a little briefly here. Rangers are they were hot for a while. They won 5 straight games. They're 6-3-1 in their last 10. They got 28 points. They're third in the Metropolitan Division. Playing, I think it was 1 or 2 games more than the Islanders, who have 26 points in the Metropolitan Division, 2 points back, but they're 4-5-1 in their last 10. Lyle, this was supposed to be a rebuilding year, but mainly for the Rangers. Islanders took a huge step back when they lost to Tavares, but they're fighting. They were in first place when we last talked about them about 2 weeks ago, if I'm not mistaken. Maybe you can refresh my memory. 2-3 weeks ago.
They were in first place.
Now they kind of dropped down out of that top 5 there. But what do you make of what the Rangers and Islanders are doing? Is this something that's going to be consistent throughout the year, or is just beginning of the season woes?
So with the Rangers, I can't see it being sustainable unless Henrik steps up to his peak level, because we have children playing for us right now, and children will play hard and they'll play fast, and Dan Quinn is good with children, but I think the talent gulf between a team like the Rangers and a team like Montreal, a team like Pittsburgh, that are below us at this point, and the Bruins, though there's a good set of teams that are slightly underperforming with much better talent. I don't think the Rangers continue this. I do think maybe they could threaten for a wild card because they are a little bit more further along than we thought they were, but I don't see them being a threat for the President's Trophy. I don't see them being a threat for first place. It's been exciting, but we need to temper our expectations. The Islanders, let's be real, the Islanders had the best run of their season already. Their season's over. Pack it up. Let's go home.
Yeah, I agree with you there. I think both teams are just in the middle of the pack road. Rangers aren't going to stay this. I mean, winning 6 out of the last 10 games, that's amazing. I don't think that continues. I think they're more of a 500 team going forward. We have to give a big shout out here to I'm just gonna make fun of their name, but the Buffalo Sabres Hummus, the NHL team, right up there by Lyle's alma mater.
Yeah, 10 in a row. Again, they have
an NHL best record of 17-6-2.
And the best part about this is the person leading the way is none other than Jack Eichel, an American hockey player. He's wonderful. I love him. I hate him, but I love him.
They have 36 points now after their win yesterday against the San Jose Sharks. They are the first team in NHL history to be the worst team the year before and then be in first place after the first 25 games the year after. First team in NHL history. I know that's a crazy stat, but they basically went from worst to first. And like you said, Jack Eichel is both him and just listen to this name, Jeff Skinner. Isn't that like the most hockey name in the world, Jeff Skinner? Both Jack Eichel and Jeff Skinner are top 20 in points, respectively, 19 and 20. Jack Eichel has 23 assists, leading second in the NHL, and Jeff Skinner has the most goals with 19. 13 of the 19 goals that Jeff Skinner scored have been assisted by Eichel. So these two have collaborated together very nicely on the ice for Buffalo in order to be the best team in the NHL right now. So I highly expect them to keep it going, bring in some sports relevancy to the city of Buffalo up there
for another couple weeks. Going up, moving on, going forward, we have the world's most popular sport, football, soccer, whatever you want to call it. But a lot of things going on. The United States men's team still doesn't have a permanent coach because the United States men's team won't hire Arsene Wenger. But that's a whole other thing. In bigger news, Some of the big name teams, Bayern Munich is still languishing behind Borussia Dortmund in Bundesliga. The Premier League is going blow for blow with Man City leading the pack. Liverpool still undefeated. Chelsea getting walloped by Tottenham, and Arsenal in fifth. The big five are where they're supposed to be. But into what occurred recently, the Champions League. Most of the positions have been concluded. I believe 12 out of the 16 spots have been filled. There's still some seeding to do. The biggest group right now is Group C. Napoli at 9 points. PSG at 8 points, and Liverpool at 6 points, 3 of the heavy hitters. The next match day, PSG plays Red Star Belgrade, while Napoli plays Liverpool. One of those teams will be dropping to the Europa, and one of those teams is going to be heartbroken. There's only a couple other things. Lyon is fighting with Shakhtar for another group, and there's one other group. Again, not big-name teams, but super exciting games. So coming up tomorrow, we have some more Europa League action. And honestly, this weekend, this Sunday, if you are doing nothing in the morning, Arsenal Tottenham and Everton Liverpool, the North London derby and the Merseyside derby. Big games in English football. Hype to watch. If you can find a fan bar and you're neutral, go to a fan bar. You will be shocked about the atmosphere that they will bring. I will unfortunately be stuck on the road to New Jersey, so please go there for me while I watch my phone in the back of the car, probably punching the seat every time Arsenal messes up. And last but not least, I have to mention Juventus for Justin, because I know he's just itching. Juventus
was just about to
have 12 points in the Champions League. They are top of their group right now. Next week, we'll decide whether they finish first. And, of course, they are first in Serie A still because they cheated. Just kidding. They're just really, really good at business.
Something even more positive for Juventus, and this is more so for the player than it is the actual team, but it's a good look for them. Ronaldo's the first player in soccer history to have 100 wins in the Champions League. He got that with Juventus's last win.
And that's Cristiano Ronaldo, the fake
Ronaldo. Yeah. Yeah, well, he's still the first player to ever do that, whether he's the fake one or not. We'll move on here to some college basketball. Man, it's been an exciting start to the college basketball right now. We have, of course, your top teams. Duke. You have Duke actually lost the other game. Did you guys see the game?
I watched Gonzaga continue to infuriate me.
Yeah, and they're now they're another number one team. Duke dropped from, I believe they were 1 to 3, so it's not like they dropped far down. Nick, I'll swing it to you here first. I know it's early in the season. Most teams have played 7 games. If they haven't played 7, they played 6. Some played 5, but from what you've seen so far, and it's like I said, with basketball, it's very early because some teams do get like 2-3 losses within the first 10 games and then go on to win like 15 straight. What college basketball team has impressed you so far this season?
I mean, it's still kind of early to decide, but I will go with a team that's currently ranked in the top 10 that I thought would take a step back since Mo Wagner graduated. Well, he went to the draft. I will go with Michigan. Although, again, it is still early. They haven't played the cream of the crop. But they are doing surprisingly well better than I thought they would because they lost their rock in Mo Wagner. And they're actually playing North Carolina right now. It's a 33-32 game. They're looking good. And honestly, I did not expect them to be as good as they are right now this year.
Lau, what about you?
Okay, let me tell you guys something right now. How many mid-major teams are in the top 25 right now?
I don't know. Tell us.
20.
There are 3 mid-major teams in the top 25. Nevada at number 5. Gonzaga at number 1. I don't know why I didn't say the first. Gonzaga at number 1, Nevada at number 5, and the University of Buffalo. Undefeated, beating a ranked West Virginia team to a bloody pulp. Destroyer of number 1 pick DeAndre Ayton, ranked at number 21. And do you know what else? The UV women's team is ranked the second best mid-major team in the nation. I'm a homer for my Buffalo sports teams, but Buffalo basketball is on the come up. You heard it
well,
here.
You did call it out last year. I give you that. You kind of called it out. You're behind when you predicted them to win in the first round. But nonetheless, you did say that they were going to bring back a lot of people this year. As far as you've seen it, they're ranked 21. They're 6-0 now, 5-0, 5-0. They won, 5-0. They haven't beaten really anyone impressive. They beat St. Francis of PA. West Virginia is an impressive team to beat, but you beat Dartmouth, Southern Illinois, and then you beat Marist. So you haven't really beaten anyone impressive. But
margins.
We're not just beating them; we're pummeling most.
Which is fine, and I do think Buffalo's going to be one of those teams that are ranked anywhere between like 7 and 10 in the tournament eventually, and then they could go to like this week 16. But
I mean, the big game, the one big game outside of conference play, we do have Cuse in a few on the 18th.
That's what I was going to mention. So in about 2 weeks here, you guys versus Syracuse at Syracuse, which is going to be a hell of a game. Actually, I would actually love to go to that game. Being that is Buffalo and Syracuse even a rivalry, Lyle? I wouldn't know.
No, because it's not. They don't play conference.
So who's the rival to Buffalo? Don't say Buff State.
No, it's no, they're chumps. Yeah, you heard me. It would be Ohio.
Ohio. Okay. All right.
Because
they're right there. Yeah.
We had Javon McCray, who's right now playing in Europe, and we had a huge team back then, like a really good team. They had that point guard that left Duke because he couldn't go playing time and just literally ran that conference for a few years.
Awesome. Yeah. So my most impressive team and it's goes without saying that they've been impressive. I'm sure everybody could concur with me on this. It's another mid-conference team, and that's Nevada. They're 7-0. This is a team last year that made a lot of noise last year in the tournament. That people were like, they're not going to do this again. But they returned a lot of juniors and seniors to this squad. They started off the year ranked 5. They're still ranked 5. They beat UMass, Loyola of Illinois, who last year was also making noise in the tournament. They beat Tulsa, and now they have 2 tough games coming up in USC and Arizona State. As long as they could probably split one of those 2 teams, I still predict them to be in the top 10 moving forward. I think they've been very impressive. Usually when you see teams like this, like Butler has done it countless time, Xavier has done it countless time, when these low-end schools do a lot of good things in the tournament, they come back the next year ranked, and then they're just not the same team. So far this year, they have proven to be that good enough a team. For me, the disappointing team it's got to be Syracuse to win me a homer here. They started off the season ranked. Nick, are you gonna take them?
Yeah, I was gonna say the same thing.
Yeah, I'll just say this. They started off the year. You could say why you're disappointed. I'm just gonna say I doubt your reason is the same as mine. They started off the year ranked. Now they're unranked. They lost to Oregon, who's ranked now but wasn't ranked at the time they lost them. Syracuse's problem every year, and this is why I say that they're disappointed, is that they always start off the year slow, and then they pick it up at the end and just sneak into the tournament. And then when they see 13th ranked Syracuse or 12th ranked Syracuse making it to the Elite 8 or the Sweet 16 or whatever the case may be, people are so shocked that they're upsetting a lot of people when they were never that bad of a ranked team anyways. They should always be ranked higher, and they do it to themselves every year. They just always start off bad, and then they find themselves catching up at the ending of the year.
No, and I was going to add, not only were they ranked and not ranked and all that noise, they returned, I think, their whole starting lineup. Their whole starting lineup from last year that went to the Sweet 16 returned this year. And Chuku, Howard, Tice, Battle, O'Shea Brissett, all of them. So the fact that they lost 2 in a row to, I think it was UConn and slipping Oregon, it's very disappointing.
But they came back today. They actually just beat Ohio
State. Yeah, I was going to say that.
So I think they'll get back on track. The thing is with Syracuse, like I said, every year you see them, they're like 20-10. And you're just like, how are they 20-10? Well, they were 10-10 and they won 10 in a row. So let's put them in a tournament. So they do it every year. They always start off slow. Now, what about you? You have a disappointed team so far? And don't say Ohio.
I was going to say Ohio. My disappointing team right now, and it's not that they're not doing what they're supposed to do. I just don't think they're doing it well enough. And they will continue to be a disappointment until they can up their recruiting and just be what they should be. And that's got to be St. John's. How are you going to only beat VCU by a point? I'm glad you beat Cal, but you're in the middle of New York City, my friends. How are you not picking up all of these recruits that are going to Duke, North Carolina, in the middle of nowhere, Indiana? What is going through the recruiters in St. John's that they can go, yo, don't you want to play hometown? Don't you want to show New York what basketball's all about? They could, if they pitched it properly.
Can you name me a high New York City recruit that went elsewhere? Aside from the ones in the past?
This year, was it not? It's there's one on Duke. Either Cam or RJ is from New York. I'm 99. I will get back to you on the specific names, but yes, I can guarantee that at least 15 of the top 100 of this basketball class, of this freshman class, is from New York. And St. John's got none of them. You're in the middle of New York. You should be a powerhouse. They shouldn't be going to Syracuse. They shouldn't be going. It's unreal to me.
I'll help you out a little bit here. All right. So we have Moses Brown, 7 feet, 210 pounds. Okay. His national ranking is 27. By position, which he's a center, is 4. He's number 1 in the New York State. He went to UCLA. Danilo Banton from Troy, New York. I don't even know where the hell that is.
Troy's upstate. It's upstate New York.
Okay, so why the hell did he go to Western Kentucky? It's way out the wazoo.
These are the things that don't make sense.
Look at this one. Look at this one. You got Jared. Actually, this is not that bad. See, now this would piss me off. Jared Rhoden, okay, shooting guard, 199th in the nation. Not the greatest, but he's a 3-star athlete. He's 45th ranked in his position and 5th in the state. So in all of New York State, he's the 5th best shooting guard. He's from the Bronx. Guess where he went? This gotta hurt.
Oh, I got this.
It's in the area.
Oh, Rutgers.
Seton Hall. Oh my God, that's like right across. Like all you gotta do from the Bronx, all you gotta do is go straight across, and you're right there. Like it sucks. And then I
just don't understand how St. John's isn't using New York, isn't doing as the mecca of the originators.
Hey, for all we know, they're not recruiting these people.
They're not recruiting anyone.
Yeah.
But
so we're gonna move on.
St. John's will continue to disappoint me forever.
Yeah, so we'll move on here really quickly to close out our worldwide news segment. The one thing I want to mention is this Saturday, December 1st, we have an amazing fight between Tyson Fury and Deontay Wilder. Deontay Wilder is the heavyweight champion of the world. Tyson Fury, a British boxer who has won a couple of fights in his career, who's probably the next best fighter for Wilder to fight aside from Anthony Joshua, who hopefully one day we get that Wilder-Joshua fight, but I think the key for Wilder to win here is he has to end it quick, and he has to keep it a slugfest in the middle of the ring. He does not want to go 8, 9, 10 rounds. We've seen Wilder in the past get really, really gassed and take a beating, and then his opponent ends up getting tiring out. He ends up just hitting a haymaker and knock him out. He needs to win early and often in the early rounds and possibly knock him out. For Fury, it's easy. It's the opposite. He has to duck. He has to dive. He has to dodge. It's not dodgeball, but he has to duck, dive, and dodge around the ring. And he can't get into a punching exchange with Wilder because that is an exchange that he will lose. That will do it for worldwide news here. We'll get into our first segment of the night, and that is college football, fellas. We are in the last week of college football. The rankings stand as is. Alabama, Clemson, Notre Dame, Georgia, Oklahoma, Ohio State, Michigan, UCF, Florida, LSU. That's the top 10. Outside the top 10, starting from 11, Washington, Penn State, Washington State, Texas, Kentucky, West Virginia, Utah, Mississippi State, Texas A&M, and rounding out the top 20, of course, Syracuse. So far, it's already been so many controversial things because we have Alabama playing Georgia this week. We have Oklahoma playing Texas, the team that they have their only loss to. Who is Ohio State play this week?
Northwestern.
Well, that's a game that they should easily win. And then we have, and I'm only mentioning them because I think you kind of have to. UCF is versus Memphis. Okay, they're home. Memphis is a joke of a team, so it's not like they're versing anyone tough.
Well, they almost lost to Memphis in the regular season. I think it was like 33 in the final score.
It's So Nick, I'll lead it off with you first. Do you think the top four is going to remain the top four after this weekend?
No, I don't think so.
So what changes? What happens in the games that you think will change?
Well, Notre Dame stays where they are because I don't think there's any way for them to be pushed out. Clemson plays.
They don't play this week, right?
No, they don't. Who does Clemson play? They're playing.
Well, they could drop to 4.
Well, you said out the top 4, didn't you?
Yeah, but still, regardless, like what changes
do you see? There's no way Notre Dame falls out the top 4. I think Clemson steamrolls Pittsburgh this week, so they're staying at 2. Alabama, Georgia. It's not fair that these two teams are playing each other. This should be a repeat of last year's championship, but Georgia is most likely not going to win this game. Alabama is just too good, and it's going to cause them to drop out. Now, Oklahoma's 5th. Oklahoma could lose because they have a tough match. I think we said they play Texas, who you said knocked them out in the regular season. And I honestly think that Ohio State possibly comes back in the top 4. I think they can sneak in.
That's something that
yeah, I think they can sneak into that 4th spot. I think they have a pretty easy matchup. Wait, we said Northwestern. I think they win. Georgia probably loses. Most likely loses, and I think Oklahoma loses as well.
You could play this game like all day long. It's just like there's so many different scenarios. Yeah, Lau, what about you? What do you see? What are you predicting?
I'm extremely frustrated with this
we
entire
know that
thing.
You got stood up today.
Well, no,
I was gonna say that because it didn't go so well earlier.
No. Here's why I'm extremely frustrated. First, Alabama, Georgia, Oklahoma, Ohio State, and Clemson all have to play conference championship games this weekend. Do you know who doesn't?
Notre Dame.
Do you know who?
No, you're right.
No, and Notre Dame is going to benefit from it because let's say Alabama loses to Georgia
because they can't lose.
Notre Dame doesn't get Alabama doesn't get kicked out. Notre Dame doesn't get kicked out. Clemson loses. Notre Dame moves up. Clemson wins. Notre Dame stays. The only way Notre Dame gets knocked out of the top 4.
Georgia wins.
It's if Oklahoma. It's if Oklahoma. If Georgia wins, yes, and then if Oklahoma puts in such a performance the likes of which we've never seen, a performance.
They are the number 1 offense in college football.
Well, no matter what, if Georgia doesn't win, Notre Dame's not falling out.
Right. So Georgia needs to win, but if Oklahoma would need to absolutely dismantle Texas, I'm talking a 65-0 punishing, because Texas has been a very good team. I actually think they're ranked a little low in this ranking.
No, they got 3 losses.
They do, but again, I don't want to get into that because I want to focus on this top 8. Ohio State winning doesn't do anything because they have been all season. They don't pass the eye test. It's if Oklahoma but here's the scenario that I know Justin wants to hear. How does UCF get into the top 4?
Absolutely, and that's what would be my prediction. There's only one way. There's only one way.
Everybody has them loses.
Michigan doesn't play this week.
Michigan doesn't need to play.
They don't play.
I'm about to go. Justin goes wild if you say what I think you're going to say, but go ahead.
Ohio State needs to lose. Oklahoma needs to lose. Georgia needs to lose. Clemson needs to lose. UFC needs to win.
Clemson doesn't need to lose.
No. But here's why I'm saying they all need to lose. Because then the committee really has to look at themselves and go, every single team has 1 loss in front of UCF. Again, are we really going to do this twice in a row? No, they're going to. But the only way they have a shot is if every single team that's not Alabama in front of them has a loss. And if Georgia and Oklahoma, if Georgia and Oklahoma get blasted, like absolutely desecrated, I think UCF can sneak in.
So that's your prediction. What's your prediction for the weekend?
No. My prediction is it's going to be Alabama 1, Clemson 2, Notre Dame 3, Oklahoma 4. I don't think Georgia wins, and I think Oklahoma beats Texas, and I think we finally have 3 conferences and an entitled Notre Dame in the playoffs.
So Ohio State is home against 21 Northwestern, and Oklahoma is home against 14th Texas. I think realistically, if I had to put money on it, I think the committee wants Ohio State in. And I think if Ohio State looks more dominant, regardless of what the score was, they could win only 28-7, but they just look more dominant. I think that they'll put in Ohio State over Oklahoma. I think ultimately Ohio State just needs to win and they'll get in. That
would be an absolute travesty.
I don't think Oklahoma's 5 and Ohio State's 6. I think Oklahoma's 5 and Ohio State is 5B. I think you could flip those two either way you like it. No one's going to complain about it.
I'm complaining about it.
Listen, at the end of the day, you want the best match, right? Look, the community has gotten it so wrong the past 10 years. Every time someone plays Alabama, they get blown out. Oklahoma's going to get destroyed by Alabama.
Ohio State would get destroyed.
But Ohio State actually has a defense that could slow them down and an offense that could keep up with them. I think Ohio State. So who gives the best? Who has the best team, the best shot to actually beat Alabama? Realistically, think about
Georgia. Clemson. But they're playing this week. Georgia has the best chance.
We'll see. I mean, Alabama. Listen. So let's play a hypothetical. What happens if Alabama loses? They're not dropping out the top 4.
They're dropping to 4.
They're dropping to 4.
Assuming that Clemson wins.
So the top 4 stays the way it is then.
So then Notre Dame becomes 1.
No,
Clemson. Oh my god!
I actually think in that scenario, Notre Dame would drop to 4, and Alabama would probably be 3, and then you move Clemson up and Georgia up.
Yeah, I could see that.
Well, listen, we could play it either way. At the end of the day, Lyle, you hit around the head. I want Georgia, Oklahoma, and Ohio State all to lose, so that UCF can go to 4 because rightfully so they will go to 4. You don't need Clemson to lose. Well, technically,
I feel like you do.
Okay, but at the end of the day, Michigan still has 2 losses. You don't need, I think they're irrelevant. I don't think if those 3 teams ahead of them lose, that they'll put Michigan at 4. I don't think so. I think they'll honestly, I think they'll put UCF. And I think for the hell of it, they might drop Notre Dame to 4 just so that Alabama and Notre Dame play. And UCF doesn't get embarrassed.
Wait, Nick. Do you remember what happened last time Alabama Notre Dame played in the final?
Yeah.
I heard Manti Te'o's ex-girlfriend was playing corner that day.
Yeah, they played with 12 defenders.
I think she came in the field when I went to take a nap at halftime.
God, that game was one of the worst games I've ever seen in my life.
let's talk about some bowl games. UCF, however, even if they do win and don't make it to the championship, to the playoffs, they will be playing on New Year's Day, which is a good thing. Right now, they're bowl eligible to play in the Fiesta Bowl against LSU if things stay as they are now. Syracuse, of course, being the 20th ranked team, is also bowl eligible. They're eligible right now. It's looking like they'll play the Camping Bowl. It's played on December 28th in Orlando. It's always the second. They choose this. They basically have the first choice of the ACC team of their liking. So obviously Clemson is not going to play in that bowl game because they're going to the playoffs. So they're going to choose Syracuse over Pitt, which I think is fine. I think Pitt got lucky with that Syracuse win, hence why they're playing Clemson instead of Syracuse playing Clemson. And then I'll give you some love too. Buffalo is bowl eligible, and
Lance Leopold is real.
They're playing like a lower end bowl, not crapping on them or anything. Still, a bowl's a bowl. They're playing, I believe, it's on December 19th or 18th, and they'll be playing in the Frisco Bowl against Houston if things stay as this. And these are just predictions, like the most likely.
I think
Selection Sunday is this Sunday coming up, but just the what ifs.
Just a quick word. Buffalo's coaches. You started with oh my god, I can't remember the former Duke player who's now at Arizona State. Nate Oates. No, not JJ Redick. Oh my god, I'm losing. Now you have Nate Oates doing great things with the basketball team, and Lance Leopold, off of winning like 18 Division III titles, comes to UB and in 2 years completely changes the football team around.
No, he did.
Buffalo's on the come up. You heard it here first.
No, he did. No, he was. So. All right, so basically to round that out, Nick thinks Nick, who do you have at 4 again? Who do you have coming back in? Ohio State.
Yeah.
He thinks Ohio State. I do think as well. I agree with that. If I had to bet my money, I do think Ohio State jumps Oklahoma no matter what. All they have to do, I think, is just win, especially after that spanking they put on Lee's Michigan team. Which I tweeted at him. Like in response to so many GIFs, like just laughing at everything that he was tweeting, and he never responded once. He just kept liking them. So good sport, that guy is good sport. And Lyle thinks that Oklahoma ultimately gets in, which is a very possibility if you look at the rankings now. We'll move on here to the NBA. Now, the NBA has been it's been a confusing season, fellas. I don't know what to make of it right now. I'll start off with the East, and the East is looking pretty much the way we expected it to look, aside from one little change. Raptors are first, followed by the Bucks, Sixers, Pacers, Pistons, Celtics, Hornets, Magic. Nets were hot to start off the season. They're 3-7 in their last 10, losing Karis LeVert to a gruesome injury.
Pause. You skipped me, bro. What? I put it in all caps into the outline.
Oh, my bad. No, because I'm following. I have a separate outline with my notes on it. My bad. All right, we'll do it right now. It's fine. How come you waited for me to go so deep?
I was like typing. Do you not see the typing?
I don't know what you're talking about.
I'm using who, Lau?
Yeah, because half is cut off. All I saw was like, N-word, can you read?
That's it. Okay. All right, ready? No, because I'm not using two computers today. I'm using one, so I'm not really looking at you guys.
Split screen.
I can't do it on the Mac.
All I see is OMFG.
All right.
All right, ready? Okay. Well, all right, ready? Just cut me down again.
You should have cut him off. It would have been funnier, and then just go even angrier. I hate it when I don't get to go wild.
5.
Yeah, so right.
Bloopers.
All right, ready?
Wait, hold on. Wait, no. Let me hold up.
Holding.
This one.
All right. I'm counting down. Waiting.
5 seconds.
All right.
Where is it? Right here.
You have to wait.
Wait, are we doing it or no?
Yeah.
Yeah, we're doing it.
No, not that one. Yeah, all right, ready? That loud. And now, for what you all been waiting for, it's time for Lyle Goes Wild.
I hate talking college football so much because there's every year there's about 8 teams that deserve to get in to these playoffs. I understand the commercial value of having 500 bowl games, and you can still do that. We can still do that. Just give us an 8-game playoff. I understand the elongates the season. You're gonna have to do some. You're gonna have to do some more. Finagling the schedule. Schedule some cupcakes. But look at the issue we're having now. If you look at these rankings, and it's a solvable issue. Alabama, Clemson, Georgia, Oklahoma, UCF, Notre Dame. Those are 6 teams that fully deserve a shot at the playoffs. 100%. And honestly, I'm just fed up with the system. I'm fed up with college football in general. I'm over it. But let me tell you something that makes me even angrier than the college football playoff scenarios. Tim Tebow. I'm coming for you, Tim Tebow. What are you doing making college football predictions, calling people out for nonsense, when you should be on the baseball field becoming a star? Tim Tebow, I want you to have the greatest baseball career the Mets have ever seen. So you really only need to play 3 great seasons. But you're not going to be able to do that if you keep on going into the media and keep on, doing sports casting. You need to get back on the baseball field. You need to get back there, hitting some balls, catching ground balls, catching fly balls, and just doing your job as a baseball player. Tim, if I see you on college football today or whatever the ESPN shows one more goddamn time, I'm going to go all the way over to wherever you happen to be, whatever church you're practicing at, and I'm going to drag you out by your very nicely coiffed hair, and I'm going to put you on the diamond, and I'm going to throw balls, and we're going to practice because I need you to have a good career somewhere. I felt bad after the whole Jets debacle. The Mets are your only chance for a good professional career in sports. Don't blow it, Tim Tebow. Don't blow it.
So,
and I'm done.
Did you just go wild? Did you just go wild on Tim Tebow, or did you go wild on college football?
So I started with college football, but I'm still angry that Tim Tebow's wasting his God-given baseball talents on sportscasting about college football. College football's over for you. You're going to go down as one of the greatest college football players in history, if not the greatest. It's over. Get a professional sports career. And it's not in broadcasting. It's on the Mets, and you're going to be great.
And that was Loud Goes Wild. Now on to the NBA, and what a confusing season this has been, fellas. I don't know what to make of it. We're owning about 20 to 22 games in. I'll go through the East first. We have the Raptors, followed by the Bucks, Sixers, Pacers, Pistons, Celtics, Hornets, and then the Magic. The Nets are at 10 with an 8-13 record. They have one more win than the Knicks. The Nets actually started off hot this year, but they are 3-7 in the last 10 games. And losing Karis LeVert, who was probably their best player on the court, to what was a gruesome injury does not make things better. So I don't expect them to make a playoff push anytime soon, if at all. Between the Eastern Conference standings, obviously the Celtics being at 6 is very concerning and disappointing and surprising. But Lau, is there anything else in the conference that you see here that maybe raises concern, or is a surprise for your eyes?
I want to talk about one man, in a positive way. Kemba Walker, New York native Kemba Walker. Let's not forget that. He's in a contract year. He's angling to get an All-Pro or an all first team All-NBA.
Max deal.
So he can get that super max money. And Kemba Walker is putting on a show, and he is showing exactly what he's capable of. But he cannot sustain this, because if you saw a couple of his games where he's putting in 46 of the 48 minutes, he is getting gassed, because the rest of that Hornets team is atrocious. Your second best player is what? Jeremy Lamb? You're trusting Jeremy Lamb as your second option? I'm really enjoying what I'm seeing out of Kemba, but the Hornets are garbage. My disappointing team, and I'm not surprised they're awful, but I'm just really sad because they have one of my other favorite players, John Wall. The Wizards are in full implosion mode, cursing at their coach, cursing at each other. Dwight Howard is Dwight Howarding. John Wall is the only shining light in that awful, awful team, and Bradley Beal once in a while when he decides to play. And that Wizards team is hamstrung by 3 egregious deals for Otto Porter Jr., who has no business getting paid a max deal, Bradley Beal, who's on and off hurt, and John Wall. If John Wall can get out of the team, he should, but the Wizards are an absolute embarrassment. And if I was a Wizards fan, I'd hide. I'd hide in the cave.
Bradley Beal to the Lakers. I'm saying it now.
I can see that.
It's very disappointing to me that the Cavaliers are 4-15 when they should be easily 2-17 in my eyes, because they're just so bad.
I was going to say that makes sense. With Kevin Love out, they should be over.
Nick, what about you? What's been the most surprising outcome so far in the Eastern Conference?
Oh, the Eastern Conference. I was looking at the West because I want to mention how the Clippers are in first place at the moment.
Well, enlighten us. What about the Clippers?
What about them? Who's on that team? It's Tobias Harris,
the greatest Italian basketball player of all time.
Danilo Gallinari, are you serious? And you got Lou Williams off the bench. Wow, how is that? That team has no business being the number 1 in the West.
But the best team in LA.
That is.
They're the best team of all of California. Put it that way.
You're killing me, Smalls.
Yes, and I'm taking a shot at you Warriors fans out there. For me, for the West, I'll read it really quickly here. Clippers, Warriors, Nuggets, Thunder, Grizzlies, Trailblazers, Lakers, and Kings. Spurs and Kings have the same record at 10-10. Mavs are actually pretty good as well. They're 9-9. Not pretty good, but as far as record-wise. Lyle, what the heck happened to the Pelicans?
The Pelicans, I was going to raise that too.
What the heck?
Number 1 10 games ago?
Shockingly, Elfrid, it's Anthony Davis not being able to do it all.
Elfrid Payton
getting hurt. Yeah. I don't understand how they just collapse on. I'm not going to say Elfrid Payton is an average point guard, but he's not a top 15 point guard. He's not an exceptional talent. but they just collapse without him, and it just doesn't make any sense. I think they'll even out eventually. I think they'll figure it out, but it doesn't make sense. But I do want to touch upon Knicks. Why are the Clippers the way the Clippers are? And honestly, I think it's because they are all substance and no flash. Boban, Tobias Harris, Lou Williams, Gortat, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, Patrick Beverly, Luke Mbah-a-Moute. These
Martinez, Harrell. Yeah, let me help you name the rest of that team.
There's a reason I'm naming those players, because they're not the flashiest players. They're not the players that are going to put like ridiculous dunks or shoot from 5,000 feet beyond the arc. They just work harder than the other teams. So this Clippers is showing hard work and perseverance and, some talent, because, to say that they're not talented would be against them, but some talent goes a long way in the NBA. And the Clippers are doing it without that superstar. And I think that's huge going forward, that if they can continue this, that it'll show a model to do this for especially small market teams that can't attract these big name players. So I'm really excited for the Clippers right now.
Nick, you have anything else to say about either standings, to be honest? For me, obviously the Rockets have spiraled downwards. The Jazz with Donovan Mitchell doing everything but just nothing else but just really scoring. He's great. He's a great player. He's going to be a superstar, but Jazz haven't been much of anything else tonight, being 9-12. But just look at everything. Everything's really close. The Thunder are on fourth place with 12 wins, and the Pelicans have 9, so they're only 3 wins away. Everything is so close. Pelicans have lost 4 in a row. If they even win one of those games in the last 4 games, they jump all the way to the the 7th seed. So it's really too early to judge right now. Just all overreaction. The Warriors were spiraling down at one point. What do you guys think about that situation over there in Oakland? You think the Warriors are they're gonna look past this? You think Draymond and Durant, shake hands and play out the rest of the year fine, win another chip? Because I do think Durant walks at the end of the season. What do you think, Nick?
Well, I think he walks as well. But as far as the rest of the season, it's winning as usual. They're gonna get back into form. Steph Curry's gonna come back, because he has been out for the last couple weeks.
We need him back. We haven't.
He's killing us. Him and Kevin Love out for so damn long is absolutely brutal to your fantasy team. But they know what it takes to win. They're going to work it out, or at least to the extent where they can play well together at a high level again. I'm sure when Steph Curry steps back on the court, everything will settle itself. But I also do think that Kevin Durant does leave at the end of the year.
Lau, you think that Durant and Draymond beef lingers throughout the season and potentially stops this team from winning another championship? Do you think it spirals them down a bit? I still think eventually I don't think there's any team beating them, but it could trickle down to the point where they won't even be the best team in the conference, going forward.
Honestly, I think that whole thing, I think they'll prioritize winning over whatever their little beef is. And I think we're also forgetting that there's a large boogie monster about to come to their team. So I think the Warriors are going to be fine. They're still the best team in the NBA. But one thing I will say, and I will eat, I have a little egg on my face on it, because I'm a Steph Curry, not hater, but I'm a Steph Curry. You guys aren't. He's not the greatest thing since sliced bread. His absence during this time again proves that he is the heartbeat of that team. He's Again, it just shows that you can have the greatest score. You can have one of the best pure scorers in the league. You can have another great scorer and defender in Klay Thompson, and a 3-and-D monster in Draymond. But if you don't have Curry, they're just an above-average team. They're not the excellent, great team. And I'm excited to see what happens when Boogie Cousins comes on the floor, because that's going to be interesting.
The Lakers are 7-3 in their last 10 games. They were 7-1 before losing 2 straight games. One game was yesterday, I believe, to the Nuggets. They lost 117-85, and then they lost the night before at home against the Orlando Magic, 108-104. Which was, I think that was an ugly loss. 2 things here. The first thing I want to say is the Nuggets coach. I don't know his name off the top of my head. Lyle maybe or Nick, maybe when you took a look at it. But did you guys hear what he said like on an interview in Denver on Denver radio?
So Michael Malone is one of the greatest men to ever coach the NBA, and he says, "I don't care if away fans show up to my stadium; they're all gonna leave taking L's. Let's get it, Michael Malone." And I love this for this team because you have Jamal Murray on this team, who's a classic instigator, and you have a very strong team. So yeah, push some confidence on. Let Jamal Murray be that antagonist, and just get it done. This is a team that's young, and you could do it.
Can I pat myself on the back here really quickly?
Yeah. Sure,
do you guys remember? If you guys remember when I brought up, and Nick, I know you. I think you were there for the argument live. Do you remember when I brought up on the podcast that I had a disagreement? It wasn't really an argument with one of my friends at a hookah lounge one day that I said I would probably take Jokic over Porzingis. Now, you're the biggest Porzingis lover in the world. Was I wrong in saying that? I mean, have you seen the way the guys played this year?
So, I mean, if you're taking injuries into account and all that, and you could,
I don't care if you take injuries. You could don't take injuries into account.
I still think Porzingis can do things that no 7'3" human can physically do.
So Jokic doesn't bring the ball up or down. He is. He's a walking triple double. He walks with the word triple double tattooed on his forehead.
He does not have the shot. He shoots
the 3-point ball. You know what? Keep arguing. I'm gonna get the stats on his 3-point percentage.
Here's what I'm saying. Kristaps is a unique. Right, Jokic is too, but Kristaps is something that you don't see. Also, he's a 7'3" guard that can also defend the center. He can defend 1 through 5.
If you would have brought the defensive part of it up first, then I could have given you that, because just I'm looking at his stats now. He barely averages a career, let alone this year. He does average a steal. His 3-point percentage is 30 for his career, 36% from the field. 36%. It's not great, but that's
from the field or from the three.
From the 3-point line. That's amazing.
No, from the field, it's pretty good. That's very good, actually.
I'm looking at Kristaps now, so give me a second. I want to get to the bottom of this. Okay, his 3-point percentage, 36%. The same thing. He averages 2 blocks a game, so he averages 1 block more, but he also averages a half a steal less. He
also took one team to the 15th best defense. The second he went out, they went to 30th. He can stop. He makes.
Yes, absolutely.
If Jokic goes out,
you're not losing much on the defensive side of the ball from what you're getting elsewhere. He's basically a bigger, better version of Draymond Green. Imagine that. Draymond Green is pretty freaking good. He's a bigger, better version of that. Better version of that.
You can't go wrong either way.
A shot and then give him a jump shot, and you could compare it to Jokic.
Yeah,
I mean, honestly, you don't go wrong either way with the picks.
So Nick, you want to tell me what's going on with the Fultz situation in the 76ers? And before you get into that, we haven't spoken about this. Jimmy Butler was traded to the Sixers, right? I don't believe we talked about this. I don't recall. Even if we did, I want to mention it. They look pretty freaking good thus far.
Yeah, but that's not even the biggest trade that's happened since we were last on the air. The biggest trade that's happened is Kyle Korver going to the Utah Jazz.
Yeah, Utah Jazz, so amazing, so amazing. The Sixers are 7-3 in their last. They're 7-3 in their last 10. I believe they're 4-1 with Jimmy Butler, if I'm not mistaken. He's been on the team for about 2 weeks now.
With two,
they look good.
Shots.
They traded 2 go-ahead buckets to win the games. They traded Robert Covington. I forgot the other guy's name.
Dario Saric.
Saric, and then second round pick for Jimmy Butler. Covington. Yeah, I said Covington. That it was pure robbery. I don't know what you guys think, but I thought the Sixers got a bargain for a ball player who could put up 25 and then go ahead and defend your best player on the other end.
But who also could be a locker room cancer. But we'll see what happens.
Hey, you take the good with the bad. I don't want him in New York because we're not ready to win yet. Had Porzingis been healthy and Frank Ntilikina would have been the great point guard that Lyle and Phil Jackson talked about him being, then maybe. But we're so far away from that. So
he's killing me.
So Nick, go ahead. Tell me about Fultz. Now. Tell me about Fultz, Nick.
Well, Fultz is having a lingering shoulder issue, and from what I've read, he doesn't plan on playing until that either heals or he gets traded. I'm not really sure how true that is, but if that's the case, then they have to get rid of him as soon as possible. Again, he hasn't been like the most outstanding player in the NBA. He is very young. I think he's 20 years old at the moment. And Bleacher Report put up an article of possible trade opportunities. Magic being one, Celtics being another, where Celtics receive him, and they give away Jonathan Simmons, a 2020 pick, second-round pick. Excuse me, Jonathan Simmons is the Magic pick, the Magic trade. They would get Marcus Morris, Terry Rozier, and a 2020 second-round pick for Markel Fultz. I think that's a deal. That they should take that immediately, but they don't know what they're going to get from him. He doesn't plan on playing until his shoulder recovers or he gets traded. It's just a messy situation over there. They just need to cut him loose as soon as
possible. Who's the worst team in the league right now? The Suns or the Cavs or the Hawks?
The Cavs, huh?
Send him to one of those teams. He's done.
I don't know. I don't think he's done. I just think it's all mental for me. I think it's all mental. He just needs rest. He needs to get it right. I want to ask you a quick question about the Knicks.
He didn't play for an entire year. He doesn't. Send him far away.
He's obviously not right, and there's nothing you could do. Honestly, I would easily trade Frank Ntilikina for him right now.
Yeah, sure. Fine.
You wouldn't?
Honestly, I would do that.
You're talking about the biggest Ntilikina lover that I've ever met.
Yeah, but Frank Ntilikina played 15 minutes the other day and had 0 rebounds, 0 points, 0 assists, 0 steals, zero blocks.
Not a good game.
Lyle said, "Yeah, Lyle, elaborate a little bit."
Elaborate.
Are you finally off the Ntilikina wagon?
I'm getting there. I usually give rookies 3 years, but he's really testing my patience as he is Fizdale's.
Also,
Ntilikina
gets 3 years, but Fultz gets the door. Apparently, first overall pick gets the door. Anyways,
everyone gets the door.
This is why
Let's
you're
get rid of all of them. No. Everyone
fraud.
gets 3 years, but look at the Sixers gave him an entire year. He jacked up his arm doing stupid things that he knew would jack up his arm. I don't know why his head is where
working
it is.
out.
But if you haven't he was throwing behind the back shots from half court, 100 of them. Eyewitnesses see this.
Eyewitnesses.
Here's what Fultz injured himself. So there's something not right with him. He needs to go get psychological treatment and step away from Philly. He needs to go literally anywhere else.
Change the topic. The Knicks. Okay, so Fizdale came out in an interview the other day with Michael Kay, our very own Michael Kay, Yankees boy. Talks on the Yes Network and ESPN Radio. Knicks in 3-7. They're 3-7 in their last 10 games. They have 7 wins on the season, 3 more wins than the Cavs, who are the worst team in the NBA. They lost 2 straight. They're just as bad at home as they are on the road. They're 500 on both. They're just not a good team this year. But we're young. We're progressing. We got Alonzo Trier, who showed a lot of promise. Hardaway is doing his best impression to be an $18 million man. Enes Kanter is another guy who's collecting $19 million this year for opting into his contract. So we got a few guys on this team that are keeping us afloat, but aren't really going to be the future of this team. At least Enes Kanter, I can't see him being that. But Fizdale was getting criticized a lot for rotating his lineup a lot, for always having a new starting 5 every game, for having a different 6-man, for making his rotations different for what they were. Frank Ntilikina went from starting the year to playing 25 minutes to now playing 15. Moutier went from playing 0 games, from playing no minutes to playing 5 minutes to now he's the starter. And Fizdale came out and said that it's a young team. And he knows, and they're not chasing wins. He's not going to put the best lineup out there to win games because they're not chasing wins. And some people said, okay, so then you're tanking. He said, no, we're not taking. We're trying to find the best options for our young guys to develop so that when the years come, we're a better team. He finally settled on Enes Kanter, Noah Vonleh, Mario Hezonja, Tim Hardaway, and Moutier as the starting 5. That's been the starting 5 for the past 2 games. He's finally settled on it. He made up his mind. You have Trier and Knox who come off the bench, who are 2 good wing guards, 2 good young wing guards who hopefully are in the Knicks plans. Lyle, with all that said, with the rotation of what Fizdale's doing, with the young guys, Vonleh, who had a slow start to his career, is now picking it up. He's like a walking double too. He's getting 10, 12 points a game with easily 10 boards with a few blocks. Hazonia hasn't been the guy I thought he would be when he came over from Orlando. Moutier has been surprisingly pretty good. I mean, he's starting over Frank, so that's not saying much. What are your thoughts on what the Knicks have been able to do despite the horrible, 7-16 record that they have?
I mean, I like what they're doing. They're seeing who actually is an NBA player and who's going to be garbage. I do like that they're giving Mitchell Robinson some minutes. I mean, I'm not a huge fan of Mario, but I do like that we're testing him out. We're kind of leaving Courtney Lee out to dry, and I kind of feel bad for the man.
No, I think he's a good trade bait.
I'm glad we're never seeing Lance Thomas ever again. But again, we need to see when we come to next year, when we have Porzingis back, when we hopefully pick up another star, we need to see who can mesh with who.
Yeah, I think the average age of this team is 26, if I'm not mistaken. So we'll see. I do think if we can, I think we will. I don't know. I think there'll be a team out there willing to give us maybe like a first for Enes Kanter. Do you think so? We've seen first round picks go for worse.
We would need a team to have an injury that needs a center. That's it.
Yeah, we'll see. I think it's gonna be an exciting trade deadline for us. I see us training Lee. I see us training Courtney Lee and Enes Kanter, and honestly, it'd be really stupid of us not to.
Well, we get Mitchell Robinson some more minutes. I'd love to see Tim Hardaway get traded. I can't stand him.
I don't think anybody's going to want to take that contract. I think he's still got a few years left, so I doubt that happens.
I can't stand him though. But that's a Lyle problem.
That's a Lyle problem.
Bleacher Report actually had Hardaway Jr. in like a 4-way trade with Marco Fultz, Ricky Rubio. It was like a multi-team thing where like just mayhem, like as far as like all the trades and all that. But
yeah, we'll see how it works out. I still think it's going to be an exciting NBA trade deadline. We'll move on here to the NFL. I want to give you guys, and this is our last topic for the night. So if you lasted this long, thank you guys. Make sure you subscribe on iTunes, Podcast, SoundCloud, and Google Play at JNJTalksports. I'm going to give you guys the power rankings. I'm not going to go through all of them. I'll go through the top 10. Keep it simple. Saints are 1, Rams are 2, Chiefs 3, Patriots 4, Chargers 5, Steelers 6, Bears 7, Texans are 8, Vikings are 9, and of course, the Seattle Seahawks are 10. Nick, any thoughts on the power rankings based off NFL.com thus far? Put your mic on. You are a professional.
I apologize, sir. As I was saying, no, I don't really have a problem with the rankings. I do like the Saints on top. They have a veteran Drew Brees. They've been playing phenomenal football. They did beat the Rams. Gave the Rams one of their only losses. It's been up and down this whole season. It's been so much exciting football. I actually enjoyed watching football so much this year just because there's so many teams that can honestly give anybody a run for their money. The Rams started off as this one powerhouse team. They've shown that their defense isn't as good as we initially thought. A lot of teams are having good offenses. It's a very exciting year so far.
Lyle, any thoughts on the power rankings?
The power rankings make sense. I was going to be like, are the Seahawks really 10? And then I thought about it for about 5 seconds. I guess
they've climbed back.
The only other team I'd think about putting above them would be maybe the Panthers, but then I remember the Panthers are win ugly and headed by Scam Newton, so you can't put them ahead of Dangerous.
Yeah, there's
CMC is that good.
But I do think that we will see the Colts crack the top 10. Andrew Luck is slinging, and it's a beautiful thing.
He definitely is. So what I don't like in the power rankings is why are the Packers 15? They're 4-6-1. They had the same exact record as the Browns, who are 18th. They're ahead of the Redskins, who are 6-5. The Broncos, who are 5-6. I can respect the Broncos being ahead of the Broncos, but why are they 15? They haven't beaten anyone who's good. They lost, I believe, 2 straight games now, and the Packers The Packers put it this way. Go ahead.
Are you saying that the Packers are overrated and have been since the beginning of the season, except for one person who had the audacity to say the Packers were absolute garbage outside of Aaron Rodgers? Is that what I'm hearing?
That's exactly what you're hearing.
Okay.
I'm gonna make a crazy statement right now. Ready?
That Lyle was right.
The Packers are the Bengals, just with Aaron Rodgers.
No, I can't.
Think about it.
There. Well, no, I did, but the difference is Aaron Rodgers has a Super Bowl.
That's exactly what I just said. They're exactly like the Bengals, but just with Aaron Rodgers.
Oh yeah, okay, 100%.
They have an all-star receiver. They have a good young bag, and they have a coach that at the ending of this season, I'm sorry, McCarthy, you got to get out of here, man.
He should have gone 3 years ago. Why is I don't understand. I don't understand the epiphany everyone's
so
having
passionate
this year
saying that.
I don't understand the epiphany everyone's having that Mike McCarthy is a bad coach. We know Mike McCarthy's a bad coach. We know Aaron Rodgers.
He inherited that team, so
Mike McCarthy, Aaron Rodgers carried that team. Again, Mike McCarthy and Marvin Lewis. Yeah, Mike McCarthy and Marvin Lewis have to have videos of the owners doing something disgusting to both have jobs.
Oh, Nick, fun question for you. Who's the worst coach, Marvin Lewis or Hugh Jackson? Heads up, they coach the same team.
You're an asshole.
It's a trick question. You don't have to answer. So I want to ask you guys. So the power rankings we talked about those, right? So I want to get into speaking of Hugh Jackson. I didn't even segue that question because I knew what the next topic was. But did you guys see what happened on Sunday at the ending of the Browns-Bengals game, where Mayfield basically lit it up? He threw three touchdowns. Two touchdowns were most so the players basically, getting into the end zone. Then the Joker touchdown was ridiculous. It was basically like a 1 yard screen behind the line of scrimmage. He jumped. He tried to jump over someone at the 5 yard line, gets down, and then his team just picks him up and throws him in the end zone. And then the Nick Chubb Moss catch was absolutely freaking him. I knew Nick Chubb was a beast. Lyle, shut up. I know Nick Chubb was a beast. I didn't think he had hands like that. I mean, he's been catching the ball 3-4 times a day. He's catching more balls than Lyle. So, I mean,
I have really good hands on Thanksgiving football. And I was the MVP quarterback and receiver this year. Just saying.
So Lyle, speaking of having good hands, what did you think of Baker's comments, and not just his comments, but what he did at the end of the game with Hugh Jackson, that whole situation?
There was something off about their relationship to begin with, and then honestly, if I was in Baker's shoes, I wouldn't want to hug the dude. You literally went over to a division rival a week after. Yes, you got fired. You want a new job, sure, but as a player, as someone who's a competitor, I just think you're giving them all the secrets, which he probably should. But I'm gonna be a little salty about it. So Baker's a little salty about it. It is what it is. It's the game.
Nick, before I get your thoughts on this situation, I'm gonna play devil's advocate here. Marvin Lewis, Hugh Jackson. I mean, it doesn't matter. Marvin Lewis, Hugh Jackson, the same person. Hugh Jackson was fired by the Browns. The Browns let him go. He gets that money still, right? But who's to judge him for getting a job that came? I mean, he knows Marvin Lewis is out the door at the end of the year, right? Most likely. I mean, I think this is the final year of Marvin Lewis. I don't even know why they re-signed him to begin with.
God.
I think they did. I think they extended him, Marvin Lewis. Little side topic here. I think they extended him so that this year he could go out without the thought, oh snap, it's my last year. Let me make some mistakes to try to win games. You know how coaches in their last year, they do stupid things to win games. I think that's the only reason why they extended him. I think they do let him go. Hugh Jackson probably saw this. Okay, let me go back to an organization I coached at before. Once Marvin Lewis is out the door, I'll get first dibs as a coaching job. And you know what? I only won 3 games in 3 years as a head coach. Let me at least go back to the Bengals because they'll offer me a head coach job because you know what? Nobody else in the NFL will ever offer Hugh Jackson another opportunity to be a head coach ever again. So can you really blame Hugh Jackson for going to a division rival as another coach? I'm not on his side. I'm playing devil's advocate here so that you can hear what I have to say, and I want to hear Nick's thoughts on the whole situation as well.
So before. So like, I'm not blaming Hugh Jackson. I'm not blaming Hugh at all.
There's nothing wrong with what he did.
Yeah, but if I'm Baker, I get why Baker's pissed.
Well, Baker's been like that even in college. He's just the type of guy that likes to rile up, get emotional, get aggressive, and just taunt. There's nothing wrong with that. That motivates your team. And there's also nothing wrong with what Hugh Jackson did. He went and got a job. He's gonna end up taking that head coaching position most likely, and it is what it is.
So I'm actually Team Baker on this. I think what he did, I had no problem with it at all. Right. So there are things that probably happen behind closed doors that we don't know. Maybe, I mean, Hugh Jackson did throw a lot of people under the bus when he got fired from the Browns. He threw a lot of people in that organization under the bus. He went out and started Tyrod Taylor, and despite struggling the first few games of the season, he still stuck with him. It took an injury for Mayfield to come in, and Mayfield came out and said, listen, that guy used to be in our locker room, and he used to tell us, oh, we're going to fight for him. We have to fight for him. We have to play for him. We have to want to be coached by him. And then he goes to another division rival. I love it. I love it. And I have a problem with the Browns fans that have an issue with Mayfield doing this, or football fans in general. When you have a guy who's the face of your franchise, and let alone just a player, like, the Giants have OBJ, the Jets have Jamal Adams. Those are the faces of our franchises. But when the face of your franchise is your quarterback, and he has that type of attitude towards another coach or an ex-coach, former player, whatever the case may be from that team, you have to stand by him. Who wants to rep the Browns? Who wants to rep the Browns? Who wants to be a proud Brown player? Nobody. Nobody wants to be a proud Browns football player. You finally have someone like that in Baker Mayfield, and you're going to criticize the man for doing that? Get behind him, support what he's doing, whether you think he's wrong or not. I do it with OBJ, right? I do it with Eli Manning. I know he stinks, but I'm still going to support him. I did it with Coughlin. He should have been out the door 2 years earlier than what he did, but I still did it.
I did it with Mark Sanchez.
You did it with Mark Sanchez. Exactly. I was just about to say that. You did it with Mark Sanchez. We do it. So if you're a Browns fan, if you're in that Cleveland community, or you're an analyst or somewhere in that vicinity that supports the Cleveland Browns, get behind this man's back, because for the first time since the Jim Brown era, you have a guy who's playing for the Browns who actually wants to play for them and is proud of it. So I'm just getting annoyed with people who not against Baker Mayfield, but can't see why he's doing that. I mean, he's playing for an organization that no one ever wants to play for. But that's neither here or there. And we'll move on here to the next thing I want to talk about. And I'll swing it to you here first, because you predicted that the Colts are going to be in the top 10, and they're surging right now. I believe they won 4 straight games. 5 straight games. They won two of which were against division rivals in the Titans and the Jaguars. What are the Colts doing, Lyle, that they're being so successful right now in the NFL? They're in the AFC South. They have a 6-5 record. If the players were to start today, they actually would be in the playoffs. I do think they have the tiebreaker over the Ravens, basically based off points for, because they both have the same record, they both have the same division record, and they both have the same record against each other's division. So kind of weird situation there, but the Colts will be the 6th seed. What have the Colts been able to do?
Andrew Luck.
So Nick is absolutely right. Andrew Luck is back, but they finally realized that in order to win games, you have to start from the inside out. They finally used draft picks on offensive line. They didn't get Quentin Nelson. They're their center.
From where?
Notre Dame.
Hey.
Notre Dame. Hey. Imagine how good he would have been if he had tougher opponents. But I digress. They invested into offensive line finally, instead of picking out Frank Gore and Andre Johnson on the back end of their careers. They actually are building a team from the inside out. Their defense is kind of getting together, and Andrew Luck can throw to anyone. You don't need to give him God's gift to humanity. Luckily, he has T.Y. Hilton. But that offensive line is doing what they need to do, and Marlon Mack is becoming, a reliable running back. And there's them starting
when he's not injured.
Yeah, when he's not injured. They're building from the inside out, as they should have been doing since they drafted Andrew Luck. That's all they've done, and it's looking beautiful.
Yeah, so I really do like what the Colts are doing, and this goes to show you what the formula for success in the NFL. It used to be defense and a good run game, and we're getting away from that. As you can see, 105 points were scored 2 weeks ago between the Rams and the Chiefs. So the formula for success, there's three things, right? You need one, a playmaker on defense, whether that's a pass rusher or a corner/safety that can make plays like turn the ball over. Your defense could stink. As long as you have a safety or a corner that can turn the ball over, or a defensive end that can rush like a Mack or Von Miller, your money. Two, a great offensive line, which the Colts now do. The Colts, I think, have the best offensive line rated in the last 6 weeks. Then a franchise quarterback. Luck has running backs Nyheim Hines and Marlon Mack. Marlon Mack is not a superstar running back, but he's a good running back. Nyheim Hines is not a great pass catching back. He's a good receiving back. Then they got T.Y. Hilton, who 9 times out of 10, 99 times out of 100, will never crack the top 12 as a top 12 wide receiver. He just won't. I think you always find a way to not put him in there. Yet he's putting in work with Eric Ebron, who Matthew Stafford and the Lions couldn't figure him out, but look what he's doing. Nick used to draft Ebron every freaking year fantasy, and I bet he would have wished that he would have had him this year because he's scoring 10 touchdowns now.
He's doing my sleeper this year that I didn't pick up.
Yeah, you have T.Y. Hilton, Eric Ebron. I don't even know who the other receivers are. Corey Grant is one of the other receivers. They're doing it. Andrew Luck is basically doing it the Tom Brady way. Great offensive line, playmakers on defense, franchise quarterback. That's the formula for success in the NFL nowadays, and I continue to see that happening. Nick, what are your thoughts on the Jaguars? I have my thoughts on this. I'm sure you do too. Why have they went from a quarter away to the Super Bowl to a quarter of a season away from being the second to third worst team in NFL?
Well, I just never thought that they were really that. I think that they were overrated last year. Again, they had the best defense in the league, and that can only do so much. Like we said, the league itself is transitioning away from a defensive game. It's becoming more offensive. Now, as good as the Jaguars' defense was, that D-line is superb. The secondary is superb. They played half the season, I think, without Leonard Fournette, which I think Leonard Fournette was the reason why they were so good last year. And they
successful.
Yeah, and then why they went to the playoffs. Again, Blake Bortles is not good. There's nothing good about Blake Bortles. The only reason they made it so far into the playoffs and nearly to a Super Bowl was just for the fact that he was able to extend the play with his legs and get a crucial first down, and the defense would do the rest. He is not good. Their receiving core is not good. Fournette's not seeing the field, and he just got suspended for the next week because he got into a stupid fight last week. It's just that team is just not going in the right direction, and they're gonna have to regroup that offense with a brand new quarterback because Blake Bortles is not gonna cut it, and they showed it this year when they benched him. Like he's just not gonna cut it anymore, and they've seen that they're seeing it and they're finally doing something about it.
Before we get into our last subtopic in the NFL, I want to tell you guys a cool thing I saw on Sunday. Usually, I know my Sundays are usually busy. They've been busy with like either football, softball in the morning, but now my team stinks so bad that we got eliminated in both leagues. Now my Sundays are kind of free. Now I actually get to watch ESPN. In the mornings, with whether that be fantasy football now with Tim Hasselback and the crew, Matthew Berry, and even just the pre-games before. So the Chargers had a big game this weekend, and Terry Bradshaw, as you know, is one of the NFL network guys. He actually met Phillip Rivers for the first time, and he interviewed him, and he told him, "So listen, you throw the ball weird. You throw it all shoulder. You don't throw the typical way. Why do you throw the way you did?" And it's a great story. Phillip Rivers is like, my dad coaches high school since the age of 30 for the past 30 years. He's been coaching since I was a little kid, and he's been coaching Pop Warner. So I used to be the water boy, and when they used to be like, "Hey, toss me a football," the footballs were a lot bigger than what he could grab and throw. So he used to have to throw with his shoulder and kind of toss the ball with using his shoulder. And he said that as he grew older, he just kept throwing like that, and that's why he throws in the NFL, which is why he's never had any arm problems. And it's funny because he said that his 12-year-old son, and they showed the video. You guys should go just go on Twitter. I'm sure you'll find it pretty easily. His son, who's 12 years old, Gunner, that's his name. It's so funny. Throws the ball the same exact way as Phillip Rivers. It's so awesome. And I bring it up because I know Nick is just like me. We both, aside from the fact we voted for him to be MVP this year, I love Phillip Rivers. I love the Chargers alone, and Phillip Rivers is definitely one of my favorite players in the NFL. So I thought that'd be a cool story. So last topic: hot seat, warm seat, cold seat in the NFL for the coaches. ESPN released an article yesterday about the coaches that are in the hot seats, the coaches that are in the warm seats, and the coaches that are in the cold seats. Lyle, there are 3 coaches that are in the hot seat according to ESPN. You get first crack. Who's name one coach that you think is in the hot seat?
Oh, Todd Bowles.
Wait your turn.
Well, now I'm going to say Vance Joseph of the Denver Broncos.
Okay, Vance Joseph of the Denver Broncos is not in the hot seat. He's actually on the lukewarm seat. So he's somewhere between cooling and somewhere between heating. He was probably on the hot seat in the beginning of the season, but I guess with a couple of wins the last couple of weeks does good for him.
Yeah,
Nick,
but obviously, Todd Bowles.
Nick, you said Todd Bowles. That is correct. He is the second coach on this list. Dirk Cutter is number 3. I think Dirk Cutter is 100% gone. Todd Bowles, I know he's on the hot seat, but for some reason, I do think he's fired, but it's not as sure as Dirk Cutter and there's other guys that I'm about to mention, which I'm surprised you didn't mention him. I'll give you one last crack. Who's on the hottest of seats of all coaches?
Oh, see, this is a trap. I want to say Mike McCarthy, but my heart says John Gruden. I'm going with Mike McCarthy.
Why would it be John Gruden? It's his first year.
No, that's what I'm saying. Like, Mike McCarthy.
Mike McCarthy. Yes, Mike McCarthy is absolutely correct. What about the coldest seats in the NFL? What coaches are absolutely not getting fired at the end of the season, regardless?
Sean Payton.
Hint. Yeah, Sean Payton, McVay, Bill Belichick, Doug Peterson, Mike Tomlin, Kyle Shanahan, and Mike Vrabel are all not going anywhere. All the new coaches aren't going anywhere. They're all on this list. Matt Nagy, Sean McDermott, they're not going anywhere. But there's one coach on this list that I'm kind of surprised about that's absolutely not going to get fired.
Who's the 49ers coach?
Kyle Shanahan. He's not getting fired either.
No, he's not getting fired. Andy Reid's not getting fired.
Andy Reid's not getting fired. Frank Wright's not going to get fired.
Harbaugh?
Harbaugh's not on the list. Harbaugh is on the lukewarm, which I think that's rightfully where he belongs. For me, it has to be Bill O'Brien. It has to be. I feel like this is a team that started off hot last year, Texans coach, and they haven't won a playoff game with him. They won 8 straight games, which is great. They're 8-3 in the AFC South, but it can easily go sideways for him. Now, take away the 8 wins that he just got this season. Take away this season alone. He's 31-33 as a head coach in 5 seasons.
I mean, he picked up an atrocious team, though. Like, that team was
built
god-awful when he started.
Yeah. And I don't think he's in the cold seat. I don't think he'll absolutely not lose his job. What happens if the Houston Texans completely collapse and don't win the division and lose the first round of the playoffs? Are you kidding me?
He's not in the freezer, but he's in the fridge.
That's a good analogy.
Like, I agree. There's no way he gets fired. He's done wonders with that team, and he turned Deshaun Watson into what he is now. And he did this without his best defensive player.
I don't think he turned Deshaun Watson into anything. I think Deshaun Watson turned himself into Deshaun Watson.
No, Deshaun Watson had the raw ability, but Bill O'Brien is a quarterback guru. He made Christian Hackenberg look like a great quarterback. This is a man who takes what you can do and makes it shine. He's like Andy Reid almost. Look what Andy Reid did with Alex Smith. It's the same concept. They all have talent, but Bill O'Brien knows how to get quarterbacks to play the way they want to play, but make them even better.
Okay, last thing for the night. Nick, I'll start off with you here first. I want to hear your answer right away, even though I already know your answer. Over under 9.5. Jets and Giants win total.
What's it at right now?
6.
6 games left. We got to play the pages one more time. You said 9.5?
Yeah, so basically they gotta win 4 games between each other. Nah. I'll tell you, the Giants' schedule is pretty tough. We got the Bears. We go to Redskins, I believe. Then we are back home against the Titans. And then we verse someone else. And then we play Cowboys last game of the season. So I think you could probably pencil in maybe 1 for the Giants at most.
I mean, I'm looking at the Jets, and Honestly, the only winnable game looks like would be Buffalo, and the way we played Buffalo last time just did not go.
No.
That's not a guaranteed.
We have 2 winnable games.
What, Tennessee?
Packers. They're garbage.
Oh, come on.
Okay, so I'm guessing Nick is taking the under. Lyle's definitely taking the under. Nick, what are you gonna go with?
I'm hoping for an under because the New York team should not be winning any more games. But it's probably gonna go under.
Yeah, I'm gonna look at the Giants' remaining schedule. Yeah, so we got home against the Bears, at Redskins. Yeah, I think I'm gonna go under as well. I think the Giants could beat the Redskins, but Tennessee is a winnable game, but I don't see them beating them. We're gonna get destroyed by the Bears this week. Make sure you guys are picking them up in DFS. Bears defensive defense. Then we travel to the Colts and we're home against the Cowboys. I could see us winning the last game of the season, though. I could see the Giants winning the last game of the season. So, question is, can the Jets win 2 games the remaining of the season?
No. I hate to say this. I'm taking the over.
That's my question. Can the Jets win 2 games this season? 2 more games?
I think. Okay, here's what I'm saying. I think the Giants win.
I think they win the Redskins and the Cowboys.
Yeah, I think they win one of the 2 division games and one of the 3 non-division games.
Okay.
But
which knowing us, we'll probably win this weekend against the Bears.
I have a feeling that the Jets will win 2 games because I don't think they let the Bills do what the Bills did again. I think this Jets team does have pride, unlike past Jets teams. I don't think they'll let that happen again. And honestly, the Patriots might just start a bunch of scrubs against us because they might be resting their team.
You guys played in week 17? You guys played in week 17?
Even if they do bench half their starters.
I don't think they bench their starters though. That division, the division is way too tight. You're bugging.
I'm just saying, if everything is settled, whoever
has home field advantage in the AFC is going to the Super Bowl.
Yeah,
the number 1 seed will go to the Super Bowl.
If the Patriots sit people, I think that the Jets can win against their second string. But I'm taking the over. I know I'm in the minority, but when I'm right and when we get the 6th pick instead of the 3rd pick and we have to trade up again, it is what we don't even have the first round pick this year.
I'm taking the over too. I think 10 is exactly what the number is going to hit because I do think the Giants could win 2 games, possibly a 3rd, and then the Jets, all I have to do is just win 1. But I do think the Jets could win 2. So 4 games left to win. I'll take it. We're going to close out this podcast episode with a Nick pick 2. Go ahead, Nick.
Can I get a Nick pick 2?
All
right, so I got 2.
Nick's picking them.
We're gonna keep siding with the New Orleans Saints. They've been looking too good. The defense has been giving up less than, I think it was like 17 points average. They're playing against the Cowboys this week, who I still don't think is a powerhouse team. Drew Brees is looking phenomenal. The spread is 7 points. I think the Saints should win by double digits. So that'll probably be a solid game there. Now I want to go all the way down to Sunday night game. It should be a phenomenal game with the Chargers and the Steelers. The Chargers are given 4 points, meaning they're 4-point underdogs, meaning they can lose by 4 or less, or win the game and you win this bet. I think the Chargers can win this game outright. The Chargers are looking amazing. I think the Chargers' defense is starting to come into form now. Joey Bosa's back. I think Phillip Rivers is playing phenomenal football. Although they are playing without Melvin Gordon, that is a thing to take into consideration. But Austin Eckler coming out the backfield as a receiving back has been just as productive when he gets the opportunity. I think the fact that the Chargers are given 4 points, are underdogs in this game, should be a shoo-in. So take the Chargers with the points, and take the New Orleans Saints -7, and that is your Nick pick 2.
Awesome, I love it. That will do it, fellas. Any last words before we close this out?
No, I think we're good.
I have only one thing to say. Go Chargers, go.
All right, guys, make sure you follow us on Instagram and Twitter at JNJTalksports. Make sure you subscribe to our podcast on Google Play, SoundCloud, and iTunes podcast at JNJTalksports. Subscribe, like, comments, give us some reviews. We would really appreciate it. We have some gifts coming up very, very soon. Just wanted to get a little bit more content out there for you guys before we start dropping out some heat jerseys, some tickets, some more t-shirts, maybe even some stickers. Stay tuned for all that from All right, fellas. From everybody at JNJ Talk Sports, we out. Later.
And don't forget.
You play to win the game.
You play to win the game. 10 wins, baby.
Hello.